Okay, on to the next Skip the Line reaction, man, and this is Aesop Rock Kirby. This is part 3 of the 3-part series that we were doing of his friend's death. And yeah, man, the last 2 have been absolutely insane. This is Skip the Line reaction by Campbell Cravens. And yeah, these have been something special, man. His writing, again, I'm just going to keep reiterating that. His writing is absolutely sensational. So let's see what we've got in this one. And as you know, as per the last 2 as well, we're going to just give it a quick listen first, uninterrupted, and then we're going to go into the breakdown. Let's rock and roll. Let's go.
Hey, Kirby, what you doing, Kirby? What you doing there? Hey, Kirby, what you doing, Kirby? What you doing there? Hobgoblin, shots of hops rogered. Vaccine queen deemed church socks hostage. 9 weeks awesome, hides in a slipper. Look in her eye like she might be a wizard. Cold met a cat lady in a parking lot. She got the heroes of tomorrow in a cardboard box, and probably hoarding 40 more in the corners of Fort Knox. Swap 20 on a spot and cop the warlock.
Hey.
Back at the haunt, bound God in the hamper. Briefs on her head, playing walking with a panther. Good around misery and golden era samplers. Jeopardy and wheel at the heels of her handlers. Bet, more than a pet to worship, it's an MD. Recommended sense of purpose here to bat around keys and the means to euphoria. Soon to be held the greatest of all warriors. Hey, Kirby, what you doing, Kirby? What you doing there? I'm not taking no shorts. Hey, Kirby, what you doing, Kirby? Why'd you eat that leaf? Yo. Homie, don't fetch, only woke to stretch. Under a fort, bubble rich with bowls of goldfish. Skittish in a company of stranger danger. Otherwise chase drawstrings, tails and lasers. In a steel cage match with a maze of cables. Brazen, game face based on a Zazel. Oversized ears up, puke in the meow mix. Shred a pair of earbuds, remedy is cowlick. Thanks, Curbs, looking like a millie. Keep an old man sharp, keep a cold chantilly. Spun plum dizzy in a frisky moment. Never lands on her feet, though I think she's broken. Mouse are in training, nap on the toaster. Decorator cubicle with dogs playing poker. 15 years taking prescriptions, now it's shrink like, I don't know, maybe get a kitten. Hey, Kirby, what you doing, Kirby? What you doing there? Hey, Kirby, what you doing, Kirby? What you doing there? I don't know, maybe get a kid.
This beat's lekker. Like this beat.
I don't know, maybe get a kid. I don't know, maybe get a kid.
I really like that beat. Straight away, as I saw the cat, I kind of knew what the premise of this was going to be. I had a sense of what the premise is going to be, just based on the last 2. So based on the progression of all of it, right? So it's the actual death of the friend, then it's the therapy with the psychologist, still nothing working. And then when I saw the cat, I'm like, okay, he's going to find more therapy in the cat than he ever did in any sort of a medical professional or psychological professional. That's what I thought that was going to go. But geez, again, writing insane. Let's try and break this down. Let's go.
Hey, Kirby, what you doing, Kirby?
Hey.
What you doing there?
I wonder why he actually called the cat Kirby. I'm not entirely sure if he's called it Kirby because of the Kirby vacuum cleaner where it crawls the floor, or of the Kirby the actual beetle. I'm not entirely sure. It'd be interesting to find out why he called the cat's name Kirby.
What you doing there? Hey, Kirby, what you doing, Kirby?
Hey.
What you doing there? Hobgoblin, shots of hops rogered.
Now, Hobgoblin shots of Hornstrogen. I don't know. That might. That actually just sounds like a villain shots of Strongid. I don't know if that's like a medicine of some sort. I'm not sure. I love this line. Vaccine queen deemed church socks hostage. And when I had the first listen, I'm like, what? And then I was kind of trying to think about that, even when the other lyrics were going on. I'm like, I was so stuck on this line, vaccine queen deemed church shots. But it's such a simple line. So vaccine queen, obviously she's gotten her vaccine shots. Vaccine queen deemed church socks hostage. So obviously she took his church socks and tore them all up. But I like the fact that he's actually sort of equating that. I'm not even know if he's doing it like sort of subliminally or not, but equating that to royalty and the church, and how royalty used the church to, you know, to control the people that had no say, essentially. Like you were at the helm of the church via royalty. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm looking too deep into that line, but it's basically just vaccine queen, which is she got her shots and she took his socks and tore them up. Hobgoblin shots a hot Strongid. Vaccine queen deemed church socks hostage. 9 weeks awesome. Hides in a slipper. Look in her eye like she might be a wizard. Met a cat lady in a parking lot. She got the heroes of tomorrow in a cardboard box. Hey, I like that. She's got the heroes of tomorrow in a cardboard box. Now, when she says the heroes of tomorrow in a cardboard box, I think he actually means the actual kitten. She's got a litter of kittens in a cardboard box, and those kittens are the heroes that sort of save people, right? Because it's therapeutic to actually have an animal. If you're going through things, you know, having a pet and coming home to a pet that loves you and, you know, cuddles you and is always there with you, right, is very therapeutic. So she's got the heroes of tomorrow in a cardboard box. Those little kittens are going to go and be the heroes of tomorrow. I like that. Week's awesome. Hides in a slipper. Look in her eye like she might be a wizard. Cold met a cat lady in a parking lot. She got the heroes of tomorrow in a cardboard box, and probably hoarding 40 more in the corners of Fort Knox. And probably hoarding 40 more in the corners of Fort Knox. I'm not entirely sure if that's a reference to, like, you know, this is what she does, right? So she's probably hoarding 40 more, but she's probably referencing the cat, or probably hoarding 40 more in the corners of Fort Knox. So essentially in cages, probably hoarding more kittens to sell, right? So she's like breeding for the sake of just selling them all, right? But you don't see them, right? So she's probably got them somewhere stashed in the back or at home. The heroes of tomorrow in a cardboard box, and probably hoarding 40 more in the corners of Fort Knox. Swap 20 on a spot and cop the warlock. Fire. Back at the haunt, found God in the hamper. Briefs on her head. Back at the haunt, found God in the hamper. That's fire. Back in the haunt. So back in the dark alleys, the haunted spaces, right? I found God. Cop the warlock. Back at the haunt. So back at the haunt, found God in the hamper. That's pretty fucking fire. I think that's very, very clever. So it's like this cat has become godly to him, right? So that's his sense of God. Found God in the hamper. Briefs on her head, playing walking with a panther. Good around misery and golden era sample. Wait, go back. On a spot and cop the warlock. Back at the haunt, found God in the hamper. Briefs on her head, playing walking with. Briefs on her head, playing walking with a panther. So it actually might be talking about somebody else. So playing walking with a panther referring to the actual cat itself. Back to the haunt. Just trying to find out trying to figure out what that line is. Back at the haunt, found. Back at the haunt, found God in the hamper. So it might actually be, he might be talking about the church. So back at the haunted place, the haunted house, found God in the hamper, right? Instead of finding God in the actual church, it's found God in the hamper itself. God in the hamper, briefs on her head, playing walking with a panther. Good around misery and golden era samplers. Good around misery and golden era samplers. So again, this is all referring this to be in the church. So good around misery and golden era samplers. So this is all in the actual church itself. Briefs on her head, playing walking with a panther. Good around misery and golden. So I like that. Good around misery and golden era. So the cat, actually, that means absolutely nothing to the cat, but it's very good around misery and golden era samplers, right? So it's actually the golden talking about the actual church and the statues and things like that. I think, I'm not.
There are samplers, Jeopardy and Wheel at the heels of her hand.
Jeopardy and Wheel at the, so obviously those are game shows.
Good around misery and golden era samplers,
Jeopardy and Wheel at the heels of her handlers. So that's actually pretty cool, actually equating that to the actual game shows itself, right? So she's playing like sort of spin the wheel, which is kind of like just taking risks essentially, and seeing where it lands, and then playing Jeopardy as well, which is again sort of alluding to a risky game at the heels of her handlers. All right, oh, that's fire. Okay, so obviously her owners.
Wheel at the heels of her handlers. Bet more than a pet to worship. It's an MD recommended sense of purpose.
I love that. Bet more than a pet to worship. It's an MD recommended sense of purpose. So it's a medical recommended sense of purpose, right? So it actually, what I like about that particular line is because that's very tied into the actual video itself. The video itself is actually quite clever because it almost makes everything around him, the house, and absolutely the only living thing in this house is that cat, right? So that cat provides a sense of purpose. He himself, who is now this sort of just this puppet that's being controlled by something else, right? That's almost, he sees himself as inanimate, right? And the only thing that gives this puppet, this numb, sort of lifeless puppet, any sense of purpose is the only living creature that's actually in his vicinity, which is the cat itself. So that's why it's more than an MD recommended sense of purpose, because it actually brings him to life. He's not just a puppet, right? He actually finds that he's living for something through the cat. I like that.
Steer the bat around keys and the means to euphoria. Soon to be held the greatest of all warriors. Hey, Kirby.
Very cool line over there that he also said here.
Purpose steer the bat around keys.
Here to bat around keys, obviously to just smack around keys, and the means to euphoria. So obviously it gives the cat euphoria, but it also gives the person, gives him euphoria to actually see that, right? You become a child again because you kind of get distracted through the cat, right? And you get excited, somewhat excited. So it provides you a euphoric sort of distraction from the real world. So the cat's euphoric about batting around keys, and he's euphoric watching the cat bat around keys, which is cool.
And the means to euphoria, soon to be held the greatest of all
fire. I like the fact that he says soon to be to hail the greatest of all warriors. So it's almost like, you know, batting around keys. So he's like a fighter, right? So he's a fighter with his claws, and that's he's a warrior with the keys, which I think is cool.
Warriors. Hey, Kirby, what you doing, Kirby? What you doing now?
Also, if you actually have to think about it, sorry, I know I'm pausing here, but if you have to actually think about it, keys to what though? So if you had to actually think bat around keys, it could be as simple as just batting around keys, because cats do that, but also keys to what? Keys to his existence, keys to his heart, keys to, you know what I mean? So it's actually batting around keys, but what do these keys unlock? Does these keys unlock a bit of happiness for him and things like that? That's why he's soon to be deemed like the best of all warriors, right? Because he's my fighter. He fights for me. He fights for the key to my heart. He fights to the key to my happiness. He fights to the key to my existence. I don't know if that's a tie in there subliminally. I'm not sure.
What you doing, Kirby? What you doing now? I'm not taking no short. Hey, Kirby. What you doing, Kirby? Why'd you eat that leaf? Yo. Homie, don't fetch, only woke to stretch under a fort bubble rich with bowls of goldfish.
That's a fire line.
Homie, don't fetch.
Homie, don't fetch, only woke to stretch, only woke up to stretch. I'm not entirely sure. Again, I'm not entirely sure if all of this is just connected to him and how he feels, right? And it's like, that's how his existence was, is like, I don't go and fetch. I don't go fetch what I want. I literally just wake up to stretch. That's how numb I've become. I'm not sure if he's projecting his own emotions and his own feelings and his own insecurities onto the actual cat itself. There's another line over here where I actually thought that was quite prevalent. I'll tell you now which one it was.
Only woke to stretch under a thought bubble rich.
Under the thought bubble rich with bowls of goldfish. Like, alright, so thought bubbles obviously just thinking, but he's under thought bubbles rich with bowls of goldfish, which I think is like the cat is thinking of like the actual fish itself, but he also himself, again, this is why I say this feels like it's very connected, like he's projecting his life onto this cat, essentially. And this cat and him have got great similarities. So in a thought bubble rich with bowls of goldfish. So thinking about bowls of goldfish, but then also the goldfish aquarium, or I wouldn't say aquarium, but bowl is actually like a thought bubble as well in itself, essentially. So the thought bubble and the thought bubble playing on with words, very clever.
Yo, homie don't fetch, only woke stretch under a thought bubble rich with bowls of goldfish. Skittish in the company of stranger danger, otherwise
skittish in the company of stranger danger. I actually like that because he actually feels, again, so when there's company, he's only comfortable with himself. And again, this could be another projection that he himself, Aesop Rock, is only comfortable with himself, and the moment he's actually in the company of somebody else, these warning signs go off, right?
Yo, homie don't fetch, only woke stretch under a thought bubble rich with bowls of goldfish. Skittish in the company of stranger danger, otherwise chase drawstrings, tails and legs.
I like that, otherwise chase
skittish in the company of stranger danger, otherwise chase
otherwise chase drawstrings, tails, and lasers, right? So human beings aren't literally going to chase like tails and lasers and that, but there is a saying, it's like when you're chasing your own tail, right? Getting nowhere, you're just going around in circles chasing your own tail. Cats do that, but the phrase actually comes from that, where it actually might actually come from a dog, right? Chasing your own tail. And it's also, again, I feel like this song is heavily projected onto this cat. And because it's heavily projected onto the cat, it's a sense of therapy. Because when you go to a psychologist, like he did in the second one, he actually went there to project, but he didn't feel safe to project his own, or to introspect on his own life to the actual psychologist, because he felt that whole thing was just a money-making racket, right? But over here, he kind of feels like this cat he's got nothing to gain from any of that. This cat is just there to just, have fun and to give him a little bit of a distraction. And I kind of feel like all of this is projected onto the cat as traits of the cat and also as traits of himself. I'm not entirely sure, but that's why I just keep getting that feeling.
Strings, tails, and lasers in a steel cage match with amazing.
See, in a steel cage match with a maze of cables. So steel cage, obviously there's cables all over the actual cat. But if you actually think of a human being as well, in a steel cage match with a maze of cables, if you actually think in your own life, in your own existence, it could be a concrete cage at the end of the day, matched with cables, which means it's like just cables to devices, right? Devices that keep you distracted from things, essentially. So whether it be a computer, whether it be TV, whether it be a thing, he's in his own cage as well. I can't shake with the feeling that this is a projection of himself onto the cat. I can't say. I know I've said it a few times, but I just can't shake off that feeling.
Raisin, game face based on a Aesop. Oversized ears up, puke in the meow mix.
Oversized ears up, puked in the meow mix, referring to the cat, okay? Shared a pair of earbuds, remedy his cowlick. Fire. That's just the cat.
Shred a pair of earbuds, remedy his cowlick. Thanks, Curbs, looking like a millie. Keep an old man sharp, keep a cold chantilly. Spun plum dizzy in a frisky moment. Never lands on her feet, though I think she's broken.
That line over here is that line that I was talking about. Never lands on her feet, though I think she's broken. That's such a projecting line over there. It's like, I never land on my feet, though I think she's broken. So she's broken like I am, right? And this is why this is such a strong connection, because I feel like that there's something wrong with her. Somehow she's somewhat broken, and this is why this is a great relationship, because it's okay that she's broken, because we're two broken creatures together, essentially, right? But even though she's broken, it gives him a sense of purpose, it gives him a sense of life as well. So I kind of also feel like he's trying to say, I never land on my feet, though I think I'm broken. I don't know if that's the case. So it's again just sort of correlating this cat to him, that human characteristic.
Mouser in training, nap on the toaster.
Mouser in training, nap on a toaster.
Decorator cubicle with dogs playing poker.
I like this line over here, decorator cubicle with dogs playing poker, because I kind of feel it's something that he would do himself, but then also the cats, just because of their demeanor. That famous painting of dogs playing poker, right? that painting was actually created to mock the upper class. It was created to mock the wealthy and to mock the rich, to mock your handlers, to mock your overlords, essentially. That's why the painting was created. So why would you have that particular painting over there? So cats don't like dogs. Dogs are superior to cats, therefore mocking the dogs. In the same sense, mocking because cats have got that kind of thing. They don't give a shit about people. They're very independent creatures, where that would be a perfect piece of artwork for a cat to have, because a cat would absolutely mock its superiors and mock its the upper class, right? Which would be its owners and would be animals that are above it in the food chain, right? They would do that. And I kind of feel like that over there, if you had to think about how he would think about society, specifically from his last song, where he said, where these work for a person who opens doors for people who open doors. Essentially, he already gave you an insight in terms of what he thinks of the super wealthy, of the upper class, right? So I kind of feel it's like, again, that's matching his ideals and doctrines.
15 years taking prescriptions, now a shrink like, I don't know, maybe get a kitten.
Fire. So almost, again, like, so okay, I paid all this money, 15 years doing all this therapeutic work with psychologists, and they just came to like a dead end and be like, listen, man, I don't know what's going to help you. Maybe just get a kitten, man. Maybe just get a kitten. And that sort of like throwaway idea became the very thing that gave him life, essentially.
Hey, Kirby, what you doing, Kirby? What you doing there? I'm not taking no short. Hey, Kirby,
super cool cat, though.
What you doing, Kirby? What you doing there? I don't know, maybe get a kid. I don't know, maybe get a kid. I don't know, maybe get a kid. I don't know.
I love the fact that the cat was the only living creature in that entire apartment. So almost like he equated himself to these inanimate objects with no feelings, no emotions, completely numb, and soulless, right? And the cat actually brought him to life. The cat gave him some life. He felt less like a puppet, although he feels he is the puppet, right? I actually really, really, really like that. I don't know if I dug too deep in that. I don't know if I went too far and went a couple of layers further than I should have, but that's just how I interpreted it. I mean, everyone has their own interpretation. I could be dead wrong, who knows? But anyway, you guys let me know what you think. I thought that was fantastic. That trilogy is epic. I love you all. Please stay safe, please stay healthy. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.